Wall Street Memes Casino,
I'm fine.
and Sportsbook.
This is KUGAN CASSIUS for IFLTV. Delighted to be joined by Eddie Hearn.
It's kind of like...
It's been so long since I've sat here.
It's kind of like a quarterly interview now. Do you know what I mean? I feel like literally 4 sit-downs a year. That's a quarter, just because you look confused. I've been on the road for 4 weeks. So add your other bods, Colin, or whatever his name is.
Column.
But if it was column, it would be C-O-L-U-M-N. So it's not column, is it?
He's Irish, so that...
Yeah, but his name...
A lot of Irish names do have kind of... You can't... Yeah.
Colin is a bit of a wind-up, but his name is C-O-L-M, correct? So it can't be column.
C-O-L-M.
Yes, that's what I said. So it can't be column. It's colm, or, as we affectionately know him, Colin. I like Colin. I think Colin is how it should be. But yeah, he did a good job.
I was going to ask you...
You had a bit of a soul, didn't you?
What do you mean?
I mean, do you want me to say what...
No, I'm at home. I'm not on the ground. Can I just say?
Do you want me to tell
Well, no,
you?
okay.
Yeah.
No, it's fine. But I'm on the ground. I'm not on the ground. Yeah. So obviously, Column is like messaging me like 24 hours a day, and then I can't really do anything apart from go to the honcho, like the main man. Yeah. Well, I couldn't get turkey, so I come to you, right? But I'm going to pester you.
But just to like put it into perspective, right? Imagine the cosh that I'm under. Like on fight night, on fight week, right? I'm up literally 20 hours of the day, right? I'm working my nuts off. I'm dealing with His Excellency at like 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning, and I'm running around everywhere. And then I look at my phone, and it's you bitching and moaning, right? Oh, Eddie, what's happened with your relationship with IFL? Cole's not getting the access. I'm like...
I didn't quite word it like that.
Mate, I know what you said. I agree, but it's like... Anyway, but he did a good job, you know.
How would you rate his work ethic? Because I wasn't there.
It's up there. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's up there. I mean, Parsons... I would say Combs actually more devious than Parsons. Do you know what I mean? Parsons is sort of... He's lost a little bit of his... You know, because he thinks he's a celebrity now. But Colm is still hustling away. I think Colm's good. He pops up a lot. Got the bit with me and Shakur. There's a few naughty bits that he did that, you know, like he put like. Sometimes I'll go backstage into an area that's like he shouldn't be. There was one incident at the Riyadh season event, and I heard this Eddie, and I turned around and there was basically 2 security holding Colm, and he goes to me. Hey, like tell him, you know, tell him I'm okay to be in here. And I turned around and went, what? And he went, okay, I come in here. I go, no, fuck off. I'll see you later. And they ejected him. So he tries. I'll call him more of them.
All right, this is great. 3 minutes for Colin. Great. Okay, well, listen, I know we haven't got ages, but we'd like a little bit of your time today. So I'm going to go in order of things that's in my head that I wanted to ask you from the last few days. First of all, what is going on with this situation with Canelo and HE Turkey? What is going on? Because it looks like we saw some of Canelo's comments, saw Turkey's statement he put out, but if you're reading between the lines, that doesn't look...
I think the best way to describe it is kind of like a clash of... the powerhouses, you know, 2 very powerful people. Look, I think His Excellency has one thing on his mind: make boxing great again. Like, and I know that sometimes, I said to him the other day, when you start out and you're perceived to kind of be like the saviour of boxing, I've been there before, all of a sudden when you gain a position of power in the sport, you get people sort of going, oh, I'm not sure about this guy. You know, he thinks he can do anything. There's nothing really financial for His Excellency. The only thing he's interested in is making the sport great again and making the biggest fights in the sport. That's it. So, as a fan, you should be really pleased with what he's doing and what he's trying to do. He wants to make Canelo Crawford or Canelo Benavidez because in his opinion, they're two of the biggest fights in the sport, which I think most people agree with. So after the press conference in New York, out to Canelo, and I said, look, His Excellency wants to make the Crawford fight. How do you want to play it? And he said, look, you know, I've got the Berlanga fight. I don't really want to talk about another fight yet, blah, blah, blah. Obviously, look, Canelo's Canelo. He's going to do his own thing. And I think His Excellency was frustrated that he couldn't have that conversation to close that fight. And you have to understand the way that they work. Maybe it's not everyone's cup of tea, but it's so abnormally refreshing to walk into a room and close a fight there and then, in 10 minutes. Do you know what I mean? So in that instance, I think if Canelo would have gone to that meeting, I think they would have closed the Crawford fight that night. And that's unusual. And His Excellency is not interested in warm-up fights, tick-over fights, marinating. He just, in his mind, it's like, let's make it. Let's make Canelo Crawford. Let's make Canelo Benavidez. And obviously, when that opportunity was shut down, I think he was a little bit frustrated, like sometimes we all are, and particularly like fans are in boxing. So, you know, then he kind of doubles down on, right, well, then in that case, if we're not doing that fight, we want to do this fight and that fight. And, you know, since then, when I wake up in the morning, I have missed calls all throughout the whole night, 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock from His Excellency. And his mind is just on another level, and the mission is on another level right now of, I want to do, let's make this, October 12th, December 21, February, right, you know, and it's amazing what's happening. And he's very, very determined. And his passion for the sport. Listen, I know that sometimes I talk about it, people comment on my stuff, you just do whatever His Excellency said. Yeah, do you know what? It's such an amazing time for boxing. We're seeing massive fights. The opportunities for fighters are endless. And the vision that he has and the engine and the energy he has, I know it. Listen, I know it's good for me, and I know it's good for the sport, and I know it's good for the fighters, but this is going to take boxing to another level. And I'm all in on it with it. So I'm prepared to work in any capacity to get my fighters opportunities. We have a good relationship. You know, we're all working together. You know, Gold Star, Queensbury, and other promoters are getting loads of opportunities as well. So I'm all in, honestly. And say what you want, call me what you want. This is amazing for boxing. The Riyadh season event in Los Angeles was incredible. And the plans that he has for October 12th, for Wembley coming up, for December 21, for February, it's amazing. I think that was just a bit of frustration, almost like, why can't we close the Canelo deal? You know, and I thought that Canelo might want to close that deal then, because there was an opportunity there in a small window to close that fight. But, you know, I also respect the fact that he wanted to wait till after Berlanga, etc. So I'm sure they'll work together in the future.
So, in layman's terms, has Turkey got the ump with Canelo?
Probably, yeah. More just frustration, do you know what I mean? Like, look, Turkey respects Canelo. Like, he thinks he's a great fighter, but he, in his mind, the way that he operates is, come on, let's close it now. Which is why I love doing business with him. Because when he says to you, done, it's done, you know? And when he's in the mood, coming off the back of Riyadh season, and you've got this momentum, and he's like, his heart is full for boxing, let's get it done. That's how I feel about it as well. But in this instance, it wasn't able to get done, and he was probably frustrated that he couldn't deliver that fight for the fans.
Whenever Canelo's been talked about, obviously there's a customary video that always comes from Oscar De La Hoya, who had his say, referring to Canelo's a piece of shit. We've heard all this stuff from Oscar before, but surprised to see Oscar kind of making one of his daily videos.
New thing, the clapback Thursdays or whatever it is, and I think, as I explained to His Excellency the other night, I said, not everyone's going to support what you're doing all the time, and people should be supporting what he's doing because there's no ulterior motive. Do you know what I'm saying? My ulterior motive, listen, you all know, you're not idiots. I want opportunities for my fighters. I want Matchroom to be the number one, and I want to make a load of money. And I want to deliver for my broadcaster, and I'll deliver for the fans. That's it. His Excellency, he's not trying to make a load of money. He's not even trying to deliver for a broadcaster. He's just trying to make the best and biggest fights and nights in the sport. So really, as a fight fan, you can't really have any gripes with what he's doing. But I explained to him, some people are always going to moan. Don't worry about, and I said, see you and Canelo going at it. Great for boxing. And I'm probably thinking, no, trust me. Oscar, slagging off Canelo, slagging off the Berlanga fight. Great for boxing. Because we're all talking, aren't we? It's just this ecosystem. And I've just learned over the years, don't take anything, but no one could say anything about my shows, the fighters, me, where I would get the hump. Just say it's fine. And we'll go back, we'll close them down, and we'll go back and we'll just out-talk them, we'll deal with them, but it's all good. When Ellaby's slagging me off, when Aram's slagging me off, when Oscar's slagging me off, what do you think that does? Gets more people knowing about me in America, gets more people talking, gets more people focused on our shows, more followers on Instagram. It's just a game, and that's what I said. But His Excellency is so passionate about boxing. I think it's very frustrating when you're trying to do all this stuff for boxing and the fans, and people are suddenly saying, well, I don't like the way this guy's doing it. We should be liking the way this guy's doing it because he's getting shit done and fast. Like I said, no marination, no warm-up fights, just the biggest fights that can be made.
Do you know what come up on my timeline the other day when you were selling the strawberries in Hull, outside, God rest his soul, Daddy Cole's stall? And I was watching the video, this is from about 10 years ago, and I was looking at you and I was thinking, this is one of the most influential people like in sport, like this guy here, this guy doing this, selling strawberries. It's mad, isn't it? And look where you are now.
Yeah, because I don't, I feel like, in a way, I've lost quite a lot of my life to boxing, in a good way. I wouldn't change it. But when I look back over the years and the experiences and the videos and the events, it's kind of like it passes you by a little bit, I mean, you might feel the same as well, I guess everybody does when they look back over 10 years and goes, oh, my God, where's that gone? But it's only really, like, every now and again I'll go through my photos on my phone and I'll just be like, that was a month. Like, every now and again I do this thing on Instagram where I just put 7 days and I look at what I'm cramming in. But I've given a lot of my soul to the business and the sport, which is fine. It's my choice. It's my obligation. I love it. But when I look back to 10 years ago, I look at those videos and just think, what are you doing? I was a kid, really. And that's what I was still, early 30s or whatever it was, but I don't know. It's just mad what's happened in boxing.
As you say, you've sold your soul.
No, I haven't sold my soul because I'm living a life of purpose, But at the same time, I'm not able to live a life that, maybe for sometimes you think, oh, that would have been nice, maybe to be able to go on holiday for 3 or 4 weeks or switch off, or like literally I wake up in the middle of the night and I've got 30 missed calls on my phone from America. And I deal with it in the middle of the night, and that's not just been like this Riyadh season, that's been the last 5-6 years of my life. But I also know that no one else can do it like I can in that respect. No one's got the engine, no one's got the hustle that I've got. And that's what makes me what I am. And if I lose that, I'm not, that's my edge, That's why, obviously, you're looking at me now thinking, he looks unbelievable. Like, that's why I'm in shape. That's why I'm trying to live healthy so I can out-hustle all these motherfuckers. Because that's what I've got. Talk great, sell better than anyone else, but I outwork all motherfuckers. You know that. Do you know what I mean? And that's what makes me what I am. But at the same time, by doing that, you're not selling your soul, but you're giving your soul. Do you know what I'm saying? And you can't, at some point, that's going to catch up with you. But that's okay, because I live a life of passion and purpose.
Relentless, in all good bookshops. Eddie, let's talk about Paris. Would you ever consider signing Imane Khelif?
So what I'm going to say on this is, I think there's a lot that is unclear. Okay? So I'm going to give you my opinion now, based off really not knowing all the facts. So therefore, I shouldn't really give you my opinion, but let's have a conversation about it. That's what I'm saying. So whatever you hear from me right now, I don't even know if I'm right or wrong, but I'm just telling you from what I know, this is what I'm thinking. Okay. Imane Khelif was born a woman. Okay. Has lived her whole life as a woman. Has competed her whole life as a woman. Okay. Now, this part I don't even know if there's been proof of or is true, but elements of, or however much of those elements of her biological makeup shows, I don't even know enough about this, XY chromosomes.
Correct.
Again, where is this evidence, right? These are apparently tests done by another organisation, etc., etc. So I look at it like this. If there is an unfair physical advantage that this individual has, that is something that has to be looked at correctly, not by a rival organisation, not by someone that might have an agenda, but at the same time, if you've been born... See, when I first heard this story, the perception of the public, and probably mine as well, because of that perception, was this is a man that has now lives as a woman, and this is not right. And I think if you're born male, and I don't think you should compete against women in boxing. But if you're born female and you've lived your whole life as a female, competed as a female for your whole career, so I'm not going to say what's right or wrong. I'm just going to say that those facts that I know lean me towards the fact that you have a right to compete as a female. You are female. But then someone will say, this is a biological man. So, I don't know. But also, I would say, this individual has competed on the circuit for years and years and years. She won gold. It's not like she's dominated the amateur scene. She's been a good amateur. She's lost many times. You saw Amy Broadhouse, other fighters that came out and said, I've sparred her, I fought her, I beat her, you know what I mean? And I feel like the Italian, that was a put-up job. Do you know what I mean? That was someone got in and said, you should do this. Because that was just, yeah. Because, come on, it wasn't even a huge shot. It was like, and that person has sparred with her before, I believe, in training camps. So what do you think? She just heard about her for the first time before that fight, took a punch and went, oh, I'm not, But again, I think we need more information. We need a conversation about it. And it is a unique situation in many respects. Firstly, because of her situation. And secondly, because of the fact that it's boxing. And it's not archery. It's not a game of tennis. It's not swimming. It's a physical sport with contact. So we need to protect athletes. We also need to protect the facts and the rights of that individual. Like the way that, the way that it was spun initially was quite incredible. I mean, very unfair. If this individual was born a woman, He's lived their whole life as a woman. It's pretty, all of a sudden to just turn around and go, this is a man, because of a testing that was done, not by the IOC, but by, so now I think there needs to be just a wider blanket, because it is a situation that is relevant now to be discussed. And that's my honest assessment of the situation.
So, if you had all the facts and information in front of you, and you came to your own kind of conclusion based on those facts and information and what we know from the last 2 weeks, would Khelif be somebody that you would be interested in signing, which was my original question?
Yeah, I think if the facts were laid out and, it was a position where there's no reason why this individual shouldn't compete as a female, yes. I mean, I think, look, commercially, one, obviously a talented fighter. Two, commercially, I think up to over 2 million Instagram followers, net like out from 30,000 or something. Yeah, the answer is yes. But I mean, there's probably a lot of facts that we don't know the true or real facts around this situation. But certainly, if a fighter was deemed, female, no, physical advantage particularly. But again, we hear these XY from. I haven't seen anything. I've just seen someone say, "Yeah, we did this test, and that's it." Do we get to see it, or are you just going to believe that narrative? And so it's not one that I'd ever go, "Oh, I'm not getting involved in this conversation." I'm just having a chat with you down the pub, like we always do in our interviews, and you guys are welcome to chime in and give me, it's a topical conversation.
Just the last one on Paris. Obviously, just the one bronze medal from Lewis Richardson. Was it overall a bit of a disappointing campaign from Team GB? A few decisions could have gone the other way, obviously, but overall, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I got to experience a couple of days at the Olympics. Amazing. And we must make sure that boxing stays in the Olympics. So important. Like the IOC, I really hope they're up for the fight. It's got such a tremendous history in the Olympics. It's so exciting as part of the Olympic schedule. And it's so important to grassroots boxing and professional boxing and the ecosystem of boxing. Had quite a few meetings with fighters and their parents and coaches in Paris. And I'll continue those actually today after you. And beyond, talking about signing Olympians. And there's some amazing talent at the Olympics. In terms of Team GB, I think there was a lot of fighters that I think will suit the pros more than the amateurs who came through that system. And I think it's important that we need to acknowledge the job that Rob McCracken, Lee Pullen, all those coaches have done at Team GB in Sheffield. That Institute of Sport for Boxing is one of the greatest things that ever happened for British boxing. And Rob and the team there have done such an amazing job that just because one cycle don't go your way and there's a couple of decisions that could have gone your way, the British way is, well, that's useless, isn't it? We need to get rid of them. The fact is that is such a remarkable system. I hope the funding carries on. I hope it increases and it filters down into grassroots as well, because that Team GB setup is so important, and Rob and the team do an amazing job up there.
Right, moving on from there, obviously you were meant to have a show next weekend in Manchester, postponed because of Cattrall's injury. Now it moves to October the 24th, so not that far away. You've moved a couple of the fighters that were meant to be on that onto the Sheffield card, Johnny Fisher, etc. Yeah,
so we've got a couple of weeks off now and then a big run coming. September, obviously August 31st, Diego Pacheco back in the War Grounds in Los Angeles. Big card's going to be a Brit on there getting a big opportunity as well. Sugar Nunez and others. It's going to be a full card announced, I think, today or tomorrow. We go from LA to Mexico, Sonora, September the 13th. Rocky Hernandez against Thomas Matisse. Great fight. And then the day after, Canelo Berlanga in Las Vegas, September the 14th. September 21st, Riyadh season, the Wembley show. Small matter of AJ against Daniel Dubois on a huge card. September 28th, big card in Sheffield, Dalton Smith against Fernandez for the European title, Johnny Fisher against Rudenko, and moved Harper Dixon there as well for the world title. And then we go into October 12th in Riyadh, Bivol Beterbiev, a few of our guys on the card there as well. October 24th, of course, Catterall against Prograis, and a big domestic fight to be announced in November as well. So, yeah, non-stop.
21st of September is going to quickly approach. Talking to Frank Warren yesterday, so not overconfident, but so confident, Frank, that Dubois will knock Joshua out. I mean, talking to quite a lot of people over the last few weeks about their perception, I think the majority consensus is that Dubois won't be able to take the volume of punches that he took against Hrgovic against someone like Anthony Joshua, but there must be some sort of doubt in your mind when you're talking heavyweight boxing and somebody that can punch as hard as Dubois as well.
Very dangerous fight. There's no doubt AJ's the favourite in the fight. It's impossible to say he's not. But, you know, Frank will be backing his guy. I think deep down, Frank will also know that AJ's the favourite. But Dubois live. You know, he's on a good run. He's young. He can punch. And he's dangerous. Two Brits going for the world heavyweight. It's a massive fight. And it's a great fight. Great fight. And, you know, for AJ, it's about becoming three-time world heavyweight champion. We're confident. I believe he wins. I believe he knocks Dubois out. But also, we know it's a real fight. And he'll prepare accordingly.
Right, 5 more minutes of your time, and then I'll leave you. 5 minutes, Eddie. When I spoke to you, I was at the fishing with your old man the other day. Great event, by the way. Caught like 8 fish in that. When I spoke to your dad, right, and I'm sure you would have seen this clip because I clipped it out, and do you remember when I used to was bantering with you about the whole AJ Fury thing? Would you class yourself as a foul promoter, blah, blah, blah. I know the foul promoter thing was a little bit harsh, but your dad was like, no, if we don't deliver that, we have failed. That's what your dad said, that as promoters, we have to make that fight. There's no way we can sit back in the years to come and with that fight not happening and just be happy with what's happened over the last however many years with the biggest fight in boxing.
Yeah, he would say that. He's not involved, is he? But no, I think he's right. You know, I think we'll always kick ourselves if we don't make Fury v AJ. I think there's no doubt that if Riyadh was around, you know, His Excellency was around 2 years ago, AJ Fury would have happened. No doubt. It hasn't, and now we have 2 mega fights coming up. AJ against Dubois, September 21. Fury against Usyk, December 21. If both of those guys win that fight, you have got the biggest fight in the history of the sport by a fucking mile. If they don't win, you've got a mega fight. If one wins, one loses. I mean, you imagine AJ wins the world heavyweight title, Fury loses. Fury can challenge AJ for the world heavyweight title, right? If Fury wins and AJ loses, AJ can challenge for the unified world heavyweight title. And if AJ wins and Fury wins, those two can fight for the undisputed world heavyweight title. And if they both lose, they can fight for bragging rights forever. So it's massive, and I don't want to give people hope, but you would think right now, with the way boxing is, with the strategic and the dynamic approach from His Excellency, that fight will happen next year. But let's just beat Dubois on September 21st.
How close are you to agreeing a 5v5 with Queensberry again? I heard you made some comments.
Yeah, I mean, look, we spoke to His Excellency, myself and George and Frank in LA, and we said, we want to do one. I mean, you know, we don't necessarily need his permission to do it, but we'd like to do it with Riyadh season, of course. And, you know, it was agreed to do another one, and I'm sure there'll be an announcement soon, but early part of 2025, I can't believe I'm even saying that, I think you're going to see a 5v5, and I think it will be, you know, I think this time it will be purely British and purely domestic.
Over there?
Or in the UK.
Crawford, when you come back from LA, you two had a little bit of back and forth on the old Instagram, called you disrespectful, etc. Are you all right now? Is it?
I've never once been disrespectful. I mean, I don't promote Terence Crawford. I can't speak more highly of the man. I mean, I spent the whole build-up, and particularly fight week, praising him, promoting him, getting, I said, there's a lot of tongue-in-cheek stuff, but, I thought that Madrimov edged a very close fight. I also think we did an amazing job for Terence Crawford. He said, don't take the credit of Riyadh season. When have you ever done a show like that? And I said, check my track record, please. And no, I think me and Terence gel well, really well. Like, doesn't mean, like, don't forget, he's not even signed with me. But I think without me on that fight week, I don't think he would have been promoted in the same way. Do you? I mean,
No, I do agree with that.
A lot of it was built around me and him bouncing off each other, and it was brilliant. And I think we worked really well together. I respect him as a fighter. I think he's a generational great, pound for pound great. But I thought Madrimov won. I'm not going to lie. And yeah, he's my fighter. So in a fight that's like that, I'm probably going to lean towards Madrimov. But for me, it was a fight that we won. But, he's an amazing talent.
Have you spoken to Dillian White recently?
Not really, no.
So surely Dillian should be in the mix of all this heavyweight stuff going on.
I think he's got a few issues to overcome about, where he can fight and stuff like that. But I think he'll for sure be in big fights. I think he's wanted to get out in September, and I guess he'll land some big fights in 2025.
And Chisora, have you had any contact with him after his win against Joyce?
I mean, look, Big Baby Miller's right back on the scene now. So I don't know whether they want to make Chisora Miller or White Miller's a great fight as well, but I'm sure a lot of these fights will land on Riyadh season.
Not a fan of Chisora and Belly then?
No, I can't see Tony taking that one. I bet when Del Boy put that out, Tony's probably like, oh my God, but yeah.
Okay, well listen, just a quick word on Bakole, obviously, from the weekend. I mean, a lot of people said this was a bit of a bold move from Anderson to take the fight, which seemed to be the case, but, I mean, fair play to Anderson for going in with Bakole, but...
Listen, massive respect to Anderson. Because people... Don't forget, I've never really seen Anderson fight. I've never seen him in the flesh before. But because people told me how good he was... Anderson, it talked me into it being a 50-50 fight. But I was so convinced that Bakole would win that fight by stoppage. But because of how good Anderson is and people like Shakur saying, and I saw Anderson spar, he's a brilliant heavyweight. But it was just the wrong time. Like, you've never fought anyone like Bakole before. And he really kind of walked through. And fair play to Anderson, he'll be back. And I really like it. I think he's brilliant for the sport. And I hope I'm sure he will. Stick with it. Young man, big future ahead. He's a great fighter. But I just knew that Bakole would beat him. And, I was pleased for Martin and Billy Nelson as well. It backed him, for years and years. And, I think he's going to be in some big fights. And he's a handful.
I love how leery you are when, you're out of your zones, when there's loads of cameras and security there, you go full on, don't you? Really? No, just in general, I just see you beefing with people over the last few months, but...
Mate, I don't do it because there's cameras and security there, you tosser. What do you think I am? Someone's a bitch.
I've seen you loon out when there's been no cameras.
No, you know what? When all my nerve endings, all my... it's happened that many times that you don't get afraid. When I was younger, remember when Chisora come over, what was that, 10 years ago, and he's literally stuck it on me. I was shitting myself. But now, as you get older, you just go, well, if he's going to whack me, he's going to whack me. And I'm going to have a go, and I'm going to get smashed to pieces. But I don't really care anymore. I don't really have any fear. My emotions are just burned and taut, you know what I mean? Whereas back then it was like, oh my God, Chisora's going to whack me. Now, if Del Boy stuck it on me, just kind of, if he decides to chin you, that's it. You're going to get sparked out. Hopefully it ain't too bad. You don't hit your head on the way down or something, and you can just have a sleep and get up again. But you hope that they won't. And you hope that they also understand it's a theatre. And we all love the sport of boxing.
When you run past that, no, walk past that fan and he give it to you. What fight was that?
Josh Ruse.
And you turned around and you went, you shit yourself now, didn't you? He folded to me.
I had one in LA as well.
What? Go on, last one.
Geezer shouted it out after the Madrimov fight. Hearn, you're a sore loser. And I was walking down, he went, sore loser, Hearn, cry baby. Right? And I just went, turned around, I went, you what? I went, you what? And he went, and he actually did just sort of go, like as if to say, fucking hell.
Did you do an American accent back to him?
I don't know why I did that just then. I was in character, wasn't I? Yeah, no, I just went. I didn't even say anything. I just turned around and saw. I just wanted. You know when you want to see, you want to see who said it. But listen, I'm pumped, right? And that night with Joshua Usyk, if there was 40 of them, I would have had to go because I was like, but you know, I hope you feel my passion for the sport of boxing.
You're not finished yet. Eddie Hearn, thank you very much. I've got to say, you can't see, Eddie Hearn is very colour coordinated today with his...
It's got slides on the same colour.
Yeah. What make are they?
Adios, aren't they?
Are they?
Aren't they the easy or something? I don't know.
I can't tell. Sign us out, Edward.
This is Eddie Hearn. We are now over halfway through 2024, okay? Now, I've been on the road for 4 weeks, and I'm back in the UK. I know we've had our problems. Come on, guys. Life is short. Let's respect one another, and let's also make sure that the people in charge can understand what they need to do to make this country great again. Peace and love. Keep smiling.
You're not really running for Prime Minister, are you, or Mayor? That was a joke, wasn't it? It was, wasn't it? Because I wasn't there.
It was a joke, but like you would start off with running for MP for Brentwood. Like, would I win that?
Yeah, I think you would.
Okay. So then once you win that, but I don't think I've got time. But don't rule it out, baby.
Wall Street Memes Casino
I'm fine.
and Sportsbook.